All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our first cartooning workshop this week. I'm glad to have you all here. My name is Felicia, and I'll be your instructor for all three classes this week. So before we get started, make sure you have the right materials you will need. A piece of paper, a pencil, a eraser, and pencil crayons are perfect. If you have any markers or pens, that is okay as well. All right, so today we'll be making a chibi superhero. Chibi is a type of art where the characters are very short with round features. They usually have a big head, sparkling eyes, and a small rounded arms and legs to go with them. So you might see this style in anime or cartoon TV shows that make the character look really cute and sweet. So today we're going to take a superhero and add these features to it. So you can pick your own favorite superhero from Marvel or DC Comics or any kind of comic book hero that comes to mind. So I will be drawing one of my favorites today, which is Captain America, for my chibi character. So I'll get my page in front of me. Make sure you have your page or sketchbook and a pencil ready to go. All right, so I have an example here in front of me. This is a chibi version of Hulk. So we see how it has a really big head, some nice sparkling eyes, and very round arms and legs. So I'm going to be doing the same thing, but with Captain America, which I have in this corner here, just so I can look at the colors and what his costume looks like. So I'll remove this and we can get started. So we're going to start with the shapes for the whole body. You can use this as a template for your entire character, and you can feel free to follow along with me to start out. And there's no rush. You're able to pause this video if you need to, just so you can get some more time and go at your own pace. So I'm going to start out with the head here. So this is going to be a nice rounded shape. So it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. If you make it into like an oval, that's totally fine too, but it's going to be nice and big. Make sure that when you draw your circle, it's not going to fill up the entire page. You want to make sure you get that whole body in there. So I'm starting out with my big round head. And after this, I'm going to do the rounded body. So right at the bottom of our circle, I'm going to do a nice oval. And this is going to be the base of our body. So for any character here, this method will work. So you can follow along just to start out. And you can change it up with any detail you want. Just make my oval here. Making it a little bit more round at the bottom, maybe a little bigger. But this is just going to be the body. All right, so once you have that step done, I'll move on to the arms, which are going to connect right from the neck. So I'm going to start right at this little corner here. And I'll make some two arms side to side. And these are just going to be some nice oval shapes. You can go all the way around if you need to. And I'm going to copy it right on the other side as well. So these will be the two rounded small arms for our hero. If you want to put your hero in a pose as well, you can go for it. You can make your arm tilted upwards if you'd like, maybe in a nice Superman pose. But I'll keep mine to the side today. Right, and once I have my arms down, I'm going to go towards the bottom to make our rounded legs. So very similar to what I have here. I'm just going to start at the bottom of our oval shape and make some two small ovals down here as well. So connecting from the left side here, and all the way down. I'm not going to make them super long. We want our chibi style to be very short, so all the features are going to be quite small. Our first leg, and again on the same side here, I'll make our other leg, which is another oval, nice and short. Make sure at these edges they're nice and rounded. We don't want to have any sharp lines. Chibi characters are very bubbly, so we want to be nice and soft with those. Right, so here are our legs. So here's our nice template for our character. Next up, we can go ahead and add our detail to make our character who they are. So now that we have our body entirely, we can go ahead and start adding those little details. So for me, I have Captain America. So we'll start by making his costume. So let's go around to the head. And on Captain America, he's wearing like a mask with a little helmet. So I can start off on this big circle. I can make his mask. So I'm going to make a line here to separate that part where his half of his head is showing or half of his face. So this is going to be that little opening. Just going to open it up here. So then we can add a mouth. But I'll just start out with the details. And don't worry if you make a mistake, you can grab your eraser and just go right over top just to clean it up. Go. All right, so we have our mask here, and he has a really big A at the top. So I'm also going to do an A up here. So this is going to be a nice blocky A. You can just do a regular letter if you are copying me with Captain America. You can decide to do just a regular A. I'll make mine a little bit 3D-like. Fun to match it exactly. We'll just have it like this. This will be my A. And we can move on to his eyes here. So this is going to be his nice, sparkling, glistening eyes. And I'll make them nice and small. But for the eyes, I'm going to make them round. So this is going to be a small oval shape for the start here. So one on the left and one on the right. Just a small oval shape on either side. And to make them nice and sparkly, to get that chibi or cartoon look, I'm going to add a highlight in the corner. So in this corner, I'm going to go towards the right side. You can do it on the left if you'd like. Either way, we just want to have that highlight there. So I'm making 2 small circles within my oval. Just like that. And then for the mouth here, I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to stick very close to the bottom of the eyes. I'm not going to put my mouth all the way down by the chin. I'm going to bring it up really close to the eyes. I feel like this gives it a really cute look. So this is going to be a nice, cute smile for our Captain America character. Right. He's already coming together nicely. And now for the helmet, Captain America has these little wings on the side. So I'm going to do some nice bubbly wings. Just right to the side here. Doing some loops. There's one wing. And I'll make the other almost like a cloud. Just connecting all these loops together to make the wings. Perfect. And for the rest of the costume, I'm going to do his belt and his pants and shirt here. So I'm going to start by separating where we have his shirt. So 2 lines on either side of the arm. So this will be where the shirt is leading, where his wrists are. And we'll have a little cuff here. So these 2 lines are just to have a cuff. And next, Captain America has a nice star in the middle, so we can't forget that. So I'll just draw a little symbol, the star here. That will make him very recognizable, as well as the colors. So once we go on to coloring, it will really bring our character to life. So here we have our star in the middle, and I'm going to continue the shirt. So I'm going to put a line right through the body here. So this is where the shirt and the belt are going to start. I'm going to make it quite a thick size, so this is going to be our belt. I'll add some stripes to it, very similar to the body of Captain America here with the red and white stripes. So I'm not adding all those tiny details like he has all the pouches and the buckles. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to really simplify this. So you can take a look at whatever hero you have chosen, and you don't have to add every single little detail. Just pick the ones that you think are the most recognizable. The ones that you think, this is my hero. So I'll add those vertical lines now for those stripes along the belt. And the rest will be his pants. So now that I'm at the legs, this line that's going right through them here, I can erase that now. Since I no longer need this bottom part of the body, I'm just going to erase this part here over the leg. Just so I can clean that up. I don't need that line there anymore. Right. And there I have my starting sketch for my Captain America here. And I can move on to our next step. So I'm going to go over my drawing, and you can do this as well if you want to take a marker or a pen and go over top of your pencil just to bold out those lines. We want to make them nice and sharp. So I'm going to go over top of it. I'm going to zoom in here. And just as a reminder, you can pause this video if you need some extra time. If you need to go at your own pace, or if you're not at this stage yet, you can pause the video. I'm just going to go over top of all of my lines here with a nice black. So this is like my marker or my pen that I'm using. And I'm following exactly what I drew before. I'm not changing up anything about my drawing. Going right over top of it. And following each one of these lines. And you can skip this step if you don't want to do it. If you don't have any markers or if you don't have a pen, you don't have to go through this. I like to do it just since it has a nice bold line in the end, and it's not as light as when I use a pencil, because I tend to draw very light with a pencil. So I'm just going over our Captain America head here. Going nice and slowly. Don't worry if you need to take your time with this step, because it can be very tricky to erase anything that's permanent, like a marker or a pen. So just take your time. All right, and I'll move down to our body here. So again, going right over top of our details, not changing anything. And I'll go to our body here on the left and the right side, all the way down to our legs. And I'll make this part here and his next leg. And I'll erase up anything that I need to. Now onto the details that are just right in the middle here. So we have the star. If you have another superhero with a symbol, make sure you add that. Don't forget something crucial like a S for Superman or Batman's bat symbol there. Just make sure that that's not plain. We definitely want to make sure we know what superhero it is. And here we have the belt. This is our last little detail on our hero. Perfect. All right, so if you have your lined or your pencil sketch of your hero and you want to move on to the coloring, make sure you have your pencil crayons or markers ready, and you can start picking out whatever colors that you need. So I'm definitely going to be using red and blue for mine. We have some spots that I'll leave for white. Maybe your character doesn't even need a skin tone or anything like that. If you have a tan or a brown color, you can use that. I'll move on to our coloring. So I'll grab my nice vibrant colors for this. There's going to be some parts that I'll leave out. So anything that's going to be white, I'm just not going to leave the color in there at all. I'm just going to leave it plain since my page is white. So if you are working on a colored piece of paper, that might be a bit tricky, but just make sure to leave those places plain if you have any areas that are white. Make sure to just not color over those. So I'm going to pick out the blue that I need. I'm going to try out a couple of them. If you have an extra piece of paper, you can actually test out a color that you might want to use to see if it's the right blue or if it's just the right color that you need. I feel like this one is going to be the right one for me. Well, I'll just start coloring in our character here. So just making sure I'm not going outside of my edges. Just going to color our character in. And make sure to go nice and slow. You can go one direction if you're going with pencil crayons. If you're coloring in a large area, just make sure to go one direction, up and down. It leaves a nice way to not have any weird streaks or anything like that. Just color it in one direction, up and down, like how I'm doing. Go around the small little areas here. Staying pretty cautious of that. And making sure I'm not missing anything in between. So our A in the middle here, it's going to be white, so I'm just making sure I'm not going to color this part in. I'm going to keep it just plain like this. And coloring around the sides. We're going to have a lot of blue in this hero. Maybe you have lots of colors on your superhero. Make sure to, if you have a lot of pencil crayons, make sure to grab all the colors you need. There are some very colorful heroes out there. One hero that would be pretty easy to color is probably Batman. You just need a nice black pencil crayon and yellow. Aren't that many colors to his costume. Continue with our helmet here, grabbing the last little portion, coloring in those spots. Perfect. And our wings on the helmet here are also going to be white, so I don't need to color in those either. If I want to do something light, maybe like a light gray, to add some details in there, I can do that as well. But I'm going to focus on the main portion of our costume here. So anything that's blue, I'm just going to color it in now. So I won't go from color to color just yet. I'm just going to focus on what parts are blue right now. So moving on to the body, going around our star, this is all going to be blue. And same with the arms and some parts of the legs here as well. Just noticed on our legs here, so once I get to that part where I color it in, I forgot to add shoes to our hero. So I will go back and add that small little line, and we'll have a different color for the shoes, so it won't be entirely blue. We can have a different color here. I'm going to go back to where I had the black outline, and I'm just going to add some shoes. This is just going to be a line going across for our boots or shoes for our hero. And then I can go back and start adding that blue in again. And for the boots, I think I'll keep them red. That will be our color there to separate the two. We don't have too many colors for him, so it's nice to keep track of them. So finishing up his pants here, getting those last little parts. We can move on to our red colors. So I'm going to grab a nice red here. We can test it out, see if this is a good red. I think it looks great. I'll put a nice red for these shoes. Right at the bottom here. Get in these little tiny edges, little tiny corners. Make sure I don't miss any spots. I'm gonna go back to the blue here. And for our red, I'm going to add it to the gloves. So in our picture here, we do have some brown gloves, but I think I want to make him very colorful and vibrant. So I'm just going to have our gloves red here. Nice and bright. And between here, I'll add our red and white stripes. So I'll color in one red, I'll leave the next one, and color this one in red. So I have a nice pattern here going across the belt. So we have red, white, red, white. Next one is red. And we'll leave this last one here blank. And I'll just clean up this area here where I have the A. And I will move on to our skin. And Captain America's skin has a nice orange light color here. Make sure I have the right color. I think that looks okay. And I'll color this portion in with the tan that I have. If you don't have a tan color, that's okay. You can go over it very lightly with maybe an orange or a yellow. Maybe mix the two together to get something very similar. But just go over it super lightly. You don't want to make it super vibrant or anything like that. But you can go very lightly over it. And just to color in our last little portion here for the eyes, I'm going to take the largest space that I have here, so not the small circle or the highlight, that's going to stay white. This portion I can color in black. So if you have a black pencil crayon or gray works too. Color in this little section of the eye with a nice black color. So we have everything colored in here, and if you have some extra time, you can start adding maybe some light colors, some shadows within your character. So I'm going to take just a darker blue of mine and maybe go over top of any of these shapes, just so we have some bolder colors here. I'm just going to go along the body. I think the blue could use a little bit of a pop. So this portion is just for fun. I'll add it to our helmet here as well, just along the mask edge here. Taking my time, just going along this part. Something very light. And along the round shape of the helmet as well. Making a nice bold line across. So you can do this with a marker, or if you take your pencil crayon and push a little bit harder into the page, you can do something very similar to that. Just going right over top of this part here. Making sure the line kind of matches up everywhere. There's nowhere where it's too thick or thin. And I'll go right underneath our head here. This will be the last little part I add. So if you take a look at your hero, or if you have a picture beside you, I have my Captain America, you can see how I made a very simplified version of our hero. I didn't add all of those dark shadows or really big details into mine. I made him a very cute style that represents that chibi-ness. So lots of round features, looking very cute with his tight little smile next to his eyes that have those nice little sparkling highlights, which represent that chibi style. So if you have those nice sparkling eyes and very similar features as mine, you totally nailed that style. I'll just take a step back, look at the piece, and I think I finished it. I think we're all done here. And perfect. So this is something that you'll have at the end. If it looks similar, awesome, great job. I'll move over here so I can see you all. But that concludes our workshop with our finished piece. I hope you enjoyed making your chibi superhero with all its cute rounded features. In our next workshop on Wednesday, we'll be making some delicious summer treats. So start thinking of your favorites to include in it. If you're interested, you can check out our Wing Canvas website for classes that are just like this. But thank you, and I will see you on Wednesday. So bye, everyone.